Lisa.
Hi, I'm very sorry.
No problem.
Life happens.
Indeed.
Yeah. Also was completely out of my control, so I'm trying to just...
Take a minute. You can take it.
Yep. Can we review who's here?
Absolutely.
Dom.
Currently on the call, we have Dom, myself, Joe, Janine, Kelly, Shonda, Meg, Joanne. I'm not going to say your last name. I'll mess it up. I'm sorry. SCTV, Carrie, and Amy.
Great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So have we done anything yet so far?
Nope. We were just about to get started. If you'd like me to read the intro script and roll call, I can do that and then hand it over to you.
That would be amazing. Thank you, Joe.
All right. All right. Evening, everyone. Welcome to the Sandwich Commission on Disability meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Today is October 2nd. Time is 4:41 p.m. This meeting is being held remotely in accordance with state laws and regulations, most recently Chapter 22 in the Acts of 2022. This meeting can be seen on local channel 9 and on the live stream at sandwichtv.org. It'll be available on demand tomorrow on their website. In addition, it's being recorded by SCTV, and there is some reporters on as well. I'll begin with a roll call. Lisa Judelson.
Present.
Alexander Beaudry. Absent. Joseph Saunier. Myself, I'm president. Shonda DeSanti.
Present.
Julia Wright. Absent. Billy Trapasso.
Present.
Dean Cullen.
Present.
Tom Jellison.
Present.
And Meg Keegan.
Present.
All right. Lisa, that takes us to the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'll hand it over to you, and I can bring up a share with a flag.
Okay, great. Thank you. We all set?
Dom's got his flag.
Okay. All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. And so I think now I need to approve minutes from last month.
That is the next item on the agenda is the September 2024 minutes. I move to approve. Motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
I second. Kelly.
I guess I should clarify. Motion to vote to approve.
Okay. And so we need to go through the roll call again.
I can do that.
Okay.
All right. Lisa Judelson.
Yes.
And Joseph Saunders, myself. Yes. Vote to approve. Shonda DeSanti.
Approve. Vote to approve.
Kelly Trapasso.
Approve.
Janine Cullen.
Approve.
Tom Jellison.
Vote to approve.
And Megan Keegan.
Approve.
All right. They are approved. Thank you all.
All right.
That brings us down to business for today.
Great. So I think leftover business from last month was the brainstorming session. And I think we might have touched on it briefly, but really what I was hoping is that people might be motivated and stimulated by their everyday activities they're doing, to just keep an eye out for opportunities or things that you see that might definitely need to be improved upon, but also looking at it with a lens of, could we do this better? Are there things that we can do around town or in a store or wherever, whatever the things are that you enjoy doing? Are there ways to make it more accessible? And just having the lens on from the Commission on Disability about, small things we could do to make a significant change in someone's life. And I use that example of the getting the beach sticker associated with the placard, which didn't turn out, it was a great idea. So great that somebody else had already thought of it. So, but something like that, where you say, hey, wouldn't this be great? bring it here and we can talk about it and discuss it. That's sort of what my intention was about talking about the brainstorming, not so much that, it all happens at like today at this particular time, but, as people come up with projects or things they think we could work on, that would be great. But on that note, did anybody have anything they wanted to bring up?
I've had an interesting thought because of a unique situation that has come around in my life is, how do we raise awareness of what kind of, accessibility facilities are there for people who become temporarily disabled? My example being, you either have, a family with 2 drivers, all of a sudden it becomes 1 driver, or perhaps even worse, somebody becomes wheelchair bound, or a single driver, and now they can't drive and or walk. How do we as a town make sure that those people, whether temporary or a new disability in that scenario, how do we as a town make sure those people are aware of the resources, and how do we help them? Does anyone know?
Yeah, I would hope the first thing is that people would refer them to us, because we have people dealing with different disabilities on the commission, that we could brainstorm ideas. But I agree with you. I would hope there would be something more like formalized that they could tap into. But because of my vision loss, and Janine and Kelly as well, I feel like we've gotten a huge, we could speak to like transportation on the Cape, but I agree. Is there a Cape-wide like an index of services or something? But I would hope that they would reach out to the Commission on Disability and that people would refer them to us, but I'm not sure if that's even in place or people would think to do that.
Yeah, I was just wondering if maybe it's something that we can, put, I don't know how much control we have over our portion of the website. And maybe that's something that we can, get some links for some additional resource. I know we have a couple on there, but just kind of brainstorming session for all of us is what would be good things that are easily accessible on our website to help people who maybe just found out about us, are newly disabled, temporarily disabled, or whatnot. So
I think that's a great idea.
Kind of a brainstorm session. Let's all think about that.
And I do, so that ties into what we were going to talk about today. It's on the agenda to review the website, but it's mostly, the intention was to review the landing page for the Commission on Disability, and not so much to assess the accessibility, because we know that that's a work in progress for the whole website for the town, but mostly to look at what is there for the information representing us, and does any of it need to be updated, and also exactly to brainstorm around exactly what you're saying, Joe. Like even that program where you can, if you have a placard, you can park in a handicap spot for free in any of the town beaches. I was told the rec department says it's on their website. I had not ever seen that. I have not gone through the rec department's website, reading all of the information there, but it's okay if it was in more than one place. And I do think there should be a reference portion on our landing page for exactly that reason, Joe.
Yeah.
Lisa, so I just have a quick question. It's Kelly. When we decide what goes up on like our section, what's the process in that? Can we just kind of decide what we want to put in up there?
We don't access, and Meg, you can help me if you know more about this than what I'm saying, but I believe that we need to present what we would like our landing page to have on it to the I think Heather, so when we were going to add the contact information for the gentleman who is the human rights, I'm blanking on his name.
Lou Cerrone.
That went through Heather to make sure that it was all set, and then got put onto the landing page. So I think that's the procedure. Is that correct, Meg?
Yeah, and I think anything we want, we just have to run it through management, and then it will go to, I think the kid's name is, I say kid, I don't know that he's a kid, Ethan. Also, Julia has access to our social media, So if we ended up putting together a list of things, it could be like you can schedule social media posts for 30 days. So you could do like a different resource every day and circle through those and whatnot. Also, when when JJ, the fire chief, came and spoke, he talked when he talked about the emergency plan. He talked a lot about what fire and police know, and they have connections and resources. So I'd be happy, or if somebody else wants to reach out to him about what that is, because or even check out their page. So they have, I know that they have databases and stuff, so that if someone like wanted to be added to that, to know to get a certain type of help or have a certain disability and want them to know that, they can do that.
I really like the social media idea. I don't know why I didn't think of it before. I think that's something we should definitely work on as a group to get some regular updates on our page for people, to engage. Because we don't update it, people aren't going to engage in our page.
Right. And is that something that you were thinking, Joe, that we'd have like a subcommittee for, or that we would do it here all together?
I think it would depend on the scope. I think a subcommittee could handle kind of the day to day, but the committee should drive the general, purpose or theme, be it quarterly, monthly, whatever it happens to be. I think would be nice to be driven from here, and the subcommittee can kind of work on the content.
And once we have a list of resources or whatnot that, a list of resources that's on our website, that can just be shared out. Versus like I think what you're saying is like, this month is learning disability month, and then have certain stuff about that or whatnot. The larger group may decide that, and the subcommittee works on it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
October is actually White Cane Awareness Month.
There's probably like all sorts of different disabilities all at the same time on different months. There's so many things that overlap.
How about if we reach out to the Visiting Nurse Association? Because speaking of what Joe said, people with a lot of temporary or permanent disabilities find themselves going through the Visiting Nurse Association when they come home.
Yes, but VNA is one service, but there's a bunch. I wonder about the
but maybe they could put in some information to refer them to us.
To give us resources for what they tell people?
Yeah, so we can be resources for people.
Oh, just put that we want help. We want the Visiting Nurse Association to refer people to look for the Commission on Disability.
Yeah, makes sense.
It would also make sense. Sorry, Lisa, this is Chanda. With that exact same kind of breath, that if we maybe reached out to rehabilitation facilities, because we have several of them in Sandwich, because logic might denote that if someone may have gone into an accident or something and therefore they are temporarily disabled, they'll probably be needing those services and ways to get there. So, dropping something off at Spalding is never a bad idea.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah, or maybe even the local doctors in town. Just, I don't know. I go locally just because it's easier. So maybe other people that, temporary disability, they might, the doctor might mention it to them.
These are all great ideas. Joe, are you writing them all down?
I sure am. As fast as I can, because there's a lot.
So it is a lot. These are great ideas, and it's a really great start. So I think that if we maybe continue brainstorming about this through even next month, we can try to get more of a list so that we would have something more cohesive to give to Spalding or to the VNA, or like, just, I don't want people, well, I mean, people could call us and we know what we know, but if we had something, I don't know if it's putting the cart before the horse, if we're telling people to call us, if we're not kind of there yet, but having all these ideas, is great and stimulating to figure out other, resources and stuff as well. So, do we want to, we'll have a further discussion on this next month. If people could even jot things down, if you think of it during the month. And does anybody have an update on Julia?
Oh, but I can text her mom. Oh,
Yeah.
Can we say
I'm just
what
curious.
we know about Julia?
I
forgot to ask permission, but I can do that.
Yes. I mean, that was within a text within the COD, right? Like that was.
Yeah, I just don't know if she wants it public. I can text.
Right.
Yeah, that would be great. And hopefully she'll be back with us soon. So, we can, leading up to, cause she's in charge of the social media page, but leading up to that, we can think about ways that we want to use that and, information that we'd like to have put out there ahead of her actually putting it on there. So that would be great.
Yeah, and that way we don't burden one person with everything. If we can all work together on getting stuff kind of submitted to her to make it
Yes.
easy. We don't ever want it, lots of hands make easy lifting.
Correct. I agree. All right. So that's great. I think that leads right into, is the next agenda item reviewing the website?
It is new business, Town of Sandwich website accessibility and our site.
So I think it leads right into that because it's, like I said, it's not so much about the accessibility, but really more, I think when we can comment on that as we go through, but I think that it's really about the content and reviewing what's on there now. Do we want to change it? And are there new things we would like to put on there? Meg, are you able to do that with the screen sharing? Is that going to work?
I just was texting.
Oh,
mom.
Can't you do 5 things at once, Meg? Really?
Only three. You want me to put up the website right now? Is that what you're asking me?
When you're ready, yes, that would be great.
No, I'm ready. I made sure I was prepared. So the website is up on the screen. It has, I don't know, I'm not very good at doing visual descriptions, but it has the Sandwich, Massachusetts with the town seal on the left, the address, their hours, the phone number is being covered up.
That's the whole standard. That's on all the town pages.
Then it has
it's just covered for you, Meg. We can see it.
Okay, great. And then it has different headings: apartments, committee services, residents, quick links, and a search, which works much better. On the left-hand side, it has a slideshow of some pictures of Sandwich on the top upper part as like a banner shape. And then on the side, it has, bikes and pedestrians, a board of appeals, the different committees. And then it has to the right of that list in a different section, the Commission on Disability. It lists our agenda, meeting minutes, and allows you to click on those. It has the onboard site, which lists the members and their contacts information. The overview. Do you want me to read the over? There's not a lot of text on here. Do you want me to read the overview?
Yes, please.
Okay. The Sandwich Commission on Disability is a committee consisting of 5 to 9 members. This actually goes up to 13. Appointed by the Board of Selectmen. The commission is charged with assisting in inclusion and integration with people with disabilities and activities, services, and employment opportunities of the community in accordance with the federal and state disability laws. The commission sponsors the handicap parking enforcement program, a group of volunteers that document and report handicap parking violations to the authorities. And then there's a view of an executive summary. I believe that this is the assessment done by the Institute for Human-Centered Design. which is numerous pages.
So can we go back to that first part again? And just the overview part? So
Sure.
we would want to say 5 to 13 members?
Yeah,
Correct.
there's
I think that needs.
yeah,
Yeah.
and there's, I think I've read it before, but there is like in the law what it states that we do, right? That's this is kind of like a short and sweet version of it. It's also incorrect, and it uses handicap versus accessible. So I think
Right.
those
So I'm
are
just
things
saying,
that-
like, maybe we would want either, do we want to just update this section, or do we want to rewrite something completely different?
I have a quick question. To be a member of the committee, you have to either be disabled or have a family member. Is that correct?
or have a or be closely associated. So
Okay.
like the person that runs the cow, like she was a member for a while.
Okay.
Susan,
Because
Yeah.
she works, yes, she's a member.
Okay.
Because she works with them.
That makes sense.
You don't have to be the way that it was explained, and we may want to invite the MOD to come re-explain some of this stuff because it's just a good refresher, is that the person with a disability is prioritized over the family member with a disability, which is prioritized over the member of the community that works closely with people with disabilities.
Okay. That makes sense.
For filling the seats, right? Like who would?
Yep.
Yep. And so we want to revise this, or we want to redo it?
We suggest that we take what it says in the law. I don't know if I have that accessible to me right now, but in the law, it says specifically what we do. If anything, we could have it revised slightly for clarity, but it's more.
And I did pull up the law. I can take kind of what's there.
Yeah,
and
that
take
explains.
the law.
Well,
Right. Because it should say accessible parking program. And I don't think we need to say that there's a group of people that goes around, because we're not doing that.
No, but we can.
And to
We can
answer
say
the
that
question,
it's available.
To answer the question about who can be on it, I have the law up. It's a majority of the commission members shall consist of people with disabilities. One member shall be a member of the immediate family of a person with a disability, and one member of said commission shall be either an elected or appointed official of that city or town, which we are working on that latter part.
And in the past, Jeff Dugan has explained that, like, if all your seats aren't filled, you can fill it with other people.
Interested
community.
community.
I think that's the minimum, right? Minimum of one. It's not saying only one.
Correct. It is directive language of the members shall consist, the majority shall consist of people with disabilities, and at least one member shall be a member of the immediate family of a person with disability. So at least one, and then also the majority shall be people with disabilities.
Yep. But there's also a section 2 that talks about like that, forget where it is on that, but it tells about like what our mission is or whatever. Do you see that? Do you want to read it?
Yeah, I can read it up at the top of the law. Do you want me to share it?
Yeah, I'll stop sharing.
Sure. So let me hit that. All right, so up here I have the Mass General Law from the malegislator.gov site. It's Title 7, Chapter 40, Section 8J, Disability Commission Powers and Duties, Member Terms. And at the top, I'll read the first paragraph. It says, "The city which accepts the provisions of this section by vote of its city council," which we have, "subject to the provisions of its charter, or a town which accepts the provision of this section at an annual or special town meeting, may establish a commission on disability, hereinafter called the Commission, to cause the full integration and participation of people with disabilities in such city or town. Such commission shall, 1, research local problems of people with disabilities, 2, advise and assist municipal officers and employees in ensuring compliance with state and federal laws and regulations that affect people with disabilities. 3, coordinate or carry out programs designed to meet the problems of people with disabilities in coordination with programs of the Massachusetts Office on Disability. 4, review and make recommendations about policies, procedures, services, activities, and facilities of departments, boards, and agencies of said city or town as they affect people with disabilities. 5, provide information, referrals, guidance, and technical assistance to individuals, public agencies, businesses, and organizations in all matters pertaining to disability. And 6, coordinate activities of other local groups organized for similar purposes. That is really the general description at the top of the law.
I'm sure
that
we
is
can make that
our-
a little bit more smooth, but I like all of that information because that really lays out exactly what we do.
Especially the bulleted 1 through 6. I took the share down.
Could we like link to that on the page maybe? I don't know if that's a good idea or not.
Well, why would we link to it instead of just put it on there? Just
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah. I didn't know how wordy we wanted to be.
And that is what our town voted to create this commission based on?
Yes.
Correct. That's the law that permits towns and cities to vote to create commissions on disability.
Mm-hmm. It just sounds more, when we are an advisory board to advise the select board. That sounds much more further reaching, I guess. Do you know what I'm saying? It's
Yep. 100%. I don't think it says anywhere there that we'd only advise the select board.
So
It was one of many things.
does
Yep.
the town of Sandwich have something specific that they've drawn up for guidance for us, or are we just going under the umbrella of the state?
I think there are a few things I have. Lisa, do you have the thing that was the handbook that they made? If you send that to me at some point, I can look through. If you send it PDF form, I can look through. I do not think that there's anything pertaining directly to the Commission on Disability, but there's a lot of language in there about not discriminating and code of conduct of how to treat people with differences, which I think is very important.
I mean, what I want is for the overview of the Commission on Disability to be descriptive of what we do, so that people can go to the landing page and see, what we're about. What I don't want to do is antagonize anybody. I don't know. I just want it to be clear about what it is we do, and then reference resources for people, so they can find out information if they're looking for it, and then also have contact information so they can get in touch with us if they are looking for support or have questions about specific things. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, and I think the best way to get clarity is to have Julia and Jeff, I can't remember Julia's last name.
O'Leary
and Jeff Dugan, who have offered numerous times to come down and speak to us about what we do. So maybe I could do that, reach out to them and ask them to come to our next meeting.
Sure. If you don't mind doing that, that'd be great. Or I can, either way. But yeah, I think, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, go ahead, Tom.
I was just going to ask, when was the last time he was here?
It's a while ago now. He's definitely been here at least once since I've been on the commission. Maybe just the once, and I don't know. Has Julia been here? She was at a different meeting.
Julia's not been here.
Okay.
Yeah, she was at the town meeting that we had with the authority figures.
Oh, and
I know we had him in person several years ago when we were meeting at the library.
Yeah, we've had him digital since.
He was also here. We had a regional meeting in Hyannis that he also attended.
Yeah, I think it would be great to have him back, or him, or to have he or Julia back to talk specifically about it.
Yes.
That's a good idea. Can we review more things about the website?
Yep,
Well,
I'll put it back up.
Okay.
Then there's the whole human rights part. Human rights, there are multiple avenues to red dress. That says red dress, right? I think it means a dress. For those who feel they have been receiving end of a human rights abuse, on the receiving end of a human rights abuse. The Barnstable County Human Rights Advisory is a advisory body established by the Barnstable County to promote human rights for residents of, employees, and visitors to Barnstable County, the 15 towns from Bourne and Sandwich to Eatown, Provincetown. A concern can be registered by a resident or a visitor to the area seeking assistance with alleged human rights or civil rights violation that occurs within Barnstable County. To file a complaint, please follow this link. The town of Sandwich's liaison is Lou Cerrone. For more information, please see committee representative page here. So that was added. That looks like it needs to be
It's
edited.
a typo. Yeah, that needs to be edited.
Yep, and I believe that in order to file one of these complaints, I don't know, it doesn't really say this here, but the person that feels like their rights are violated, they have to do that. It can't be someone else, is what it was explained to me. And then there's a bunch of related documents. Part A of the Town of Sandwich Executive Summary. B, the evaluation of non-discriminating policies. Part C, order of magnitude cost estimates. I don't even know what these are. DOD general mass laws. So that, I bet you that's what Joe read. Massachusetts Office on Disability flyer. I believe a lot of this is really old. I just clicked on the flyer and I don't know. Can anybody see a date on the right or anything?
No.
But like the grievance procedures from September 2018, it says to contact Brendan Brides at 16 Jan Sebastian Drive. So I did send this to Brendan, and he confirmed that it was out of date. But I think we would need to maybe vote to ask him to rewrite it. But that's it. After that, there's a to Sandwich 311, notify me, employment, online services, maps, agendas, and minutes, and then the Sandwich Town, the Sandwich mission statement, and the seal, contact information, social media links, other links like animal control, fire department, police department, public works, town clerk, and some other site links.
So,
including an accessibility link.
Maybe when we talk to Jeff or Julia about coming, they can also give it, if they have an updated brochure for the MOD.
Yeah,
we can get that.
I think they have all that. I think they have all that stuff on the website.
Okay, so then maybe in updating our landing page, we can update the MOD information. And Brendan, maybe we can just have his information updated, or is there a whole section? Is there a paragraph for him to actually rewrite something, or just his contact information?
So there's a grievance process that talks about what the actual grievance process is. Do you want me to read that?
No, but I think we could maybe ask him to review and make sure it's up to date and his contact information. So as we're gathering all of this new information to update the landing page, maybe that can be a part of it as well.
Sure, I can reach out to Brendan.
Okay.
Does it need to be a formal letter from the commission? Is that helpful?
I don't think so. We're just asking him to update information.
It's already there. It's not like it's new, a new.
Right. I think I did ask it to, like, I wrote to Heather and said all this stuff needs to be updated. I don't think I got any answer from her. Mm-hmm.
So, looks like on the website we found the MOD file is out of date. The ADA grievance process is out of date. My general recommendation with they have a PDF of the COD Mass General Laws. I would generally recommend we link directly to malegislative.gov rather than a PDF, because PDFs don't change, but laws do.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, and this has the other link that we should add is the section 22G.
Mm-hmm.
I know we haven't talked to the new police chief about this, but this is the thing the city of town accepts, the first one, and this is about how we would collect funding from the accessible parking violations. Has anybody reached out to the town clerk to ask if there's been any violations in the last year?
I actually did. Do you want me to wait till Lisa's back on?
I'm back on.
She's there.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Lisa, it's Chanda. No, I actually did speak to him, and essentially what I was told was that luckily Sandwich is really not a town where a lot of people park in accessible parking spots. So there is a bank account. It is just empty. And unlike Barnstable, who has a police force who their entire job is to go out there and police parking and the likes, Sandwich does not have that. So that was sort of the answer. We have a bank account and the cupboard is bare because no one has been caught and ticketed, because anyone that typically is ticketed, a lot of times they go into him and explain, I didn't have my placard or something to the sort. And he's like, okay, then we're not going to charge you the money.
So I did ask in Barnstable, a friend of mine is on the Commission on Disability, and I said, how did this all begin for you guys? And she said when they first got the bank account established, they were going out and they themselves writing the tickets. But then that became, shouldn't say dangerous, but it just wasn't working out great. So they did have enough money to then hire some people to do that job specifically. And now they not only pay those salaries of people to go do that, but they also, I think they just gave away like $6,000 in scholarships and stuff. It's big business in Barnstable.
Yeah.
But there's many, accessible parking spots that are violated all the time, given all the shopping areas and everything. So, I don't think it'll ever be like that here, but it is not something that I could do anyway. Like, I would not notice if somebody was in an accessible spot, nor would I be able to, do the picture or all of that reporting. But I am concerned that people would be safe doing that. And so I'm not sure. How do people feel about actively doing that from commission members? Is that something that...
So I've done it. I just send it to Brian Boderick.
Yeah, so
nothing happens.
Yeah, because you had asked me a while ago, Lisa, and I did speak to Corporal Boderick again, and he confirmed that if commission members wanted to, they can email him a picture of the car in the accessible spot. The license plate has to be showing, and he wants us to tell him the time and day that this offense occurred. And most importantly, we have to have the license plate showing that the car is in the accessible parking spot.
And if we send all that information, so we get a good picture with the license plate, with the accessible spot, with the date, with the time, we send it to Officer Boderick.
And tell him the location that we're at.
can they ticket
can all
them
be in the
based
metadata.
off of that information we send them?
Yes, in theory, that is based on that information, they will be able to ticket them.
Will they do that?
Well, Corporal Bonaderic, I don't dislike saying his name wrong, said that we forward the information on to him and he will take it from there. He does not want us in any way to confront people.
Yeah.
So you want us to check back with him? Like, is he comfortable with us asking what happened if we're not asking the person? Because like the times that I've done it, person's not in the car, right? They've gone off to do whatever. Like 9 times out of 10, there isn't someone in the car and there's no problem. If someone was like, one time someone said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, I'm taking a picture of you in the handicap spot." And they weren't happy about it, but you know, I was like,
have you noticed it a lot, Peg?
I mean, yeah, there's certain places, and one of the things that Chief Whack had said, you know, is that because that's he was chief when when Dom and I went down to talk to him, was that you know, they kind of like we would see if we would use the information to see if there were hot spots where people were parking in accessible spots, and if they had people available, they might send them down to do that. So I don't remember him saying that he would be able to make it a ticket in that spot. But that being said, I'm not like, it says that we can write tickets. And so I just want to back up for a second. I wonder if Barnstable was overwhelmed because they have 550 million accessible spots. To Taylor's point, that we don't have that many, maybe a few people who are able to do that and comfortable to do that could do it. You know, I think that could be a personal choice. Someone could say, "I'm not comfortable," and not do it. And someone can say, "I am comfortable," and do it.
I'm very comfortable and would happily do it if I had the resources to do so.
Yeah, like it would have been interesting at the open house last week at Oak Ridge. I was able to get a spot, but I left very, very early.
And we've seen it at the schools repeatedly.
The schools,
pickups, drop-offs.
And it has been brought to the police's attention numerous times. It's been brought to the principal's attention. It's been brought to everyone's attention. And basically they say they don't have the resources. So I see at least possibly 3 people that are willing to do that.
Yeah, because if I hadn't
is the hot spot.
If I hadn't gotten that spot, were you guys there last Thursday? Oh, the park, all the way. Like my mom was waiting in the car with my kids because my husband couldn't go, and she was just like, "How would you have ever made it through the parking lot?"
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that
also all parked in the fire lane. I mean,
yep.
Yeah, I've had numerous people tell me about all 3 schools.
It's so dark there too. It's like it makes me nervous for people, even people that don't have disabilities.
Would someone like to go talk to Chief Keene with me? I'll go.
I'll go with you again.
Happily
All
go.
right. Sure. I think so. Just
the plan for going forward.
Up to, I think, it just can't be a majority of people. So what is that, 5? So it can be 4. I believe it could be. And then once Joanne is officially on, I think we can go up to 5 people being able to go to something at once without it being an open meeting law violation.
I thought it was 2 people, or you had to have a subcommittee.
You can't have you cannot have a majority of your group there because then it counts as a meeting.
Okay.
Typically, you can't have a majority of people on this commission discussing commission items. That's not okay. If we all ended up someplace, that's okay, as long as we don't then communicate about what we do here.
Right.
And I could be wrong about that, but that is what I understood in the training that we just had.
I got the same thing from the state training I took a few months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's the majority plus one for a quorum.
Simple majority.
Right. Simple majority. Mm-hmm.
So with an even number, we're stuck with 6 because 5 is not a simple majority.
No, 5 is, right?
Not with 10 seats. It's only
so,
50%.
But once Joanne's on, it can be 5.
No, then it would have to
then
be.
it has to be 6.
It would have to be 6. Yeah, we're still at 6.
I don't like math.
Yeah, to have the quorum so we could take a vote on something.
Correct.
5 people could meet without it being a quorum once.
Correct.
Joanne is on. Okay. So I will, if people who want to go text me, we can figure out a time. I see Joe and Dom, I think we're interested.
All right. And so there was nothing else to review on the website.
There's those other documents. Hold on.
I think in the interest of time,
we've
gone over most things, and we have a lot of great things to move forward. I think it's a good time to continue.
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll send that thing to Brendan and ask him to update it, and then I will just I can just ask, I guess, Bud and Heather to update any or make any suggestions of what else they would put on, or if they would update anything. Because a lot of that other stuff is like document, you know what I mean? It's like documents that are like just to make sure they would know what the latest version of that document is. So
yeah,
be like, hey, review these documents. Is there an updated one? If there is, please update it.
Would we also want to link to the social media page or keep them separate?
No, you definitely.
I think we should link to
that.
it. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I like that.
All right. Okay, that is an excellent start on getting that to be, updated and current and a little more user-friendly and actually usable. I don't feel like what's there is very usable at the moment.
Agreed.
All right. Are we moving on to the next item?
Yes. Next item would be fire coats, safety and barriers, and then after that.
The document that I sent out most recently was given to me by Meg, and it just has the updated fire codes and school safety and information about barrier devices that is all current, which includes regulations that would have prevented the whole discussion that we had about the barrier devices at the schools. So it is up to date and passed, and that was given to you. This is DESE information, and also given to you by JJ.
Yeah, JJ passed it on. That information when the information specifically not allowing for barricade devices in schools went out to all superintendents and all fire chiefs. And JJ is part of, I think, the fire association. So he's going to talk about it at those meetings that he goes to as well.
Okay. So everybody can have those for their reference if they want to look through them. All right. Is Kari still here? That's the next item on the agenda.
Yes.
Okay. Kari, are you there?
I am, and my daughter just called. Darling, I need to actually go for a second. I'm actually talking to folks where you are. Mom's got to call you right back, okay? Nope, okay. Sorry. So I'm Corey Fisher. I'm going to.
Breaking up a little bit. We lost you.
So I can try to get on camera. And I think, are you there?
Yep, we hear you now.
Okay, perfect. So let me see if I can go on camera. Oh, okay. Hi.
There you are.
So I'm Kari Fisher, and my daughter's in her 3rd year at Riverview School. I live a mile from the University of Maryland in Delphi, College Park, Maryland. I am a lawyer, just so you know, and I do a lot of civil rights here, but I'm a government tax attorney by trade. But I'm very much spend every waking moment doing civil rights stuff. And so just to say I love all the ideas, that's exactly what I would have done. I would have reached out to all the orthopedic offices and put a beautiful flyer of Sandwich Accessibility Office in all their offices and done exactly that. And also I would be looking at all the towns in Massachusetts to see what they have on their websites about disabilities. But getting to my issue, my big issue, one that I have here too, is transportation. My daughter has numerous disabilities, and she is a member of the Cape Youth Symphony, and she needs transportation. And it's not there. And last year we were able to kind of survive a little bit with the Smart Dart, and they've removed some of those services. And I talked to, well, I won't disclose who I've talked to, but I haven't been able to reach anyone yet at the CCRTA, and I've left several messages, and it's very, very difficult. And so I just want to say, I am probably, we'll see what they say if they can fix this. But one issue is now they remove the Smart Dart. Last year, at least, they had the Smart Dart from Sandwich to Barnstable, Barnstable to Sandwich, and all that. So when my daughter got back, I forget this is recorded, but when my daughter got back to school this year, they're like, oh, we don't have that. So our very first thing ordering a Smart Dart was, oh, no, you can't get to Barnstable, but there's only one driver. She just wants to go from Riverview School to Corpus Christi Church, which is 3 miles away, and she can't get there. And so Smart Dart, and there's only one driver, and I was told by CCRTA that the driver is sharing in Bourne and Sandwich and Falmouth. And Falmouth, and there's only one after 5 o'clock. That's one issue. I mean, I've been able to talk to the rank and file at the Cape Cod Regional Transit Authority, but I've not been able to speak to anyone who can, be decision makers. Another issue is, and I'm not going to disclose any conversations I've had, but she can't get, for example, she's got to be at Falmouth every other Saturday at the Cape Symphony Rehearsal Hall, and she can get a Dart there, and now she can get a Dart to Barnstable, but she'll be late because there's no Smart Dart. And on the way back, she can get all the way to the closest stop that they consider safe for her, which is Corpus Christi. She goes to church there now. And so she'll pay the $5 from the ADA Transit, but it can pick her up on a Dart at Riverview School, but it won't drop her off at Riverview School. And it'll drop her someplace on the Brown line. Riverview School is not within 3/4 of a mile of a route. And many of you may know that if you're not within 3/4 of a mile route, you are not eligible for ADA Transit. So the issue is, and I think this is just bananas, they will allow her to go from from Falmouth to the Corpus Christi Church, and then wait 3 to 5 hours for a Smart Dart to get her the next 3 miles home. And there's so many things, and I think there's things actually that the town of Sandwich can do to maybe help themselves on this, and we can talk about that. And I plan on coming to these meetings monthly when I can. I love what you all do. I wish I could talk when you guys talk. But anyway, and I'm like, why do they do that? Think about that. Not only is that, I mean, that's like almost, well, this is the civil rights meeting. It just seems discriminatory. That's bananas that they have a driver that are going to drop them off on a route, and then they're going to sit there and wait for another driver, which is completely inefficient, to come from somewhere else to come pick them up where a driver just had them to take them the rest of the distance. And I just don't think that they've thought that through. And the last thing, and now I'm going to fight very hard for this, because I mean, my children have attended public school. Every school in Sandwich is on a route except Riverview. And I understand that Riverview is a private school. It serves 203 individuals with complex learning disabilities, including autism, Down syndrome, and others. And it has like 230 staff. And that's a significant employer in the region. And it's a school, and it's a school that serves the Sandwich community as well as others. And you know, and money that, you know, goes to Riverview obviously is spent back out in the community. There's no reason why that route, because I just drove it, the Brown route goes up to Sandwich High School, literally stops and turns back around, when it could just be extended a slight bit up to Route A, go to Riverview, and come back. I mean, I think there's a case to be made. And I mean, there are businesses on Route A, and, you know, it could just be 2 routes a day. But in my humble assessment, looking at everything, I do feel that it's intentional that the transit routes are not in front of Riverview. And this is a major problem for me, and one that I will likely file a claim with the Barnstable County, this human rights website with Lou that you just had up on the thing, because I'm really at the point now where I tried to reach out to the politicians in Massachusetts, and I just really hit a brick wall. And so, you know, I think sometimes you get, you know, unfortunately, I can't get anywhere, and it's not working, and I will try one more time with CCRTA. But I hope that the town of Sandwich considers that, because it's not just the 203 disabled individuals who work, who go to school at Riverview. It's the entire town of Sandwich that, you know, is not being served appropriately. And I'll just say this last thing. It is National Disability. It's National Disability Awareness Month this month. I myself have disabilities, but my daughter also has disabilities. I'm also a caregiver of an individual disabilities, which is my daughter, and I know many of you are. And that is in November, the National Family Caregiving Month. I've started a cohort group to talk about caregivers. We're kind of underserved in the law. And I share that with you because that's something else that you can add to your, you know, your accessibility, is that, you know, it's, you know, we're caregivers too of individuals with disabilities. There's a lot of resources out there that people just simply don't know. And I myself am learning. So I would really appreciate any, you know, support on that. If I write letters and so forth, I would like the town of Sandwich's support. I think it's pretty reasonable to get that route line extended just to Riverview School, so that every school in Sandwich has access to a route, and all children are treated equally within the town limits. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us, Kari. Sorry, I apologize. Is it Kari or Carly?
Oh, I joined with my daughter's computer. I'm Kari, K-A-R-I.
That's what I thought from your email. And then I was like, oh no, did I get her name wrong? Anyway,
no.
That makes me feel a lot better. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's my daughter's name.
Thank you very much for joining us. I appreciate you being here and for hearing again. And I'm sorry for your frustration around the transportation. I fully can totally sympathize with the frustrations around transportation. And when I hear other people say, oh, but you know, it could be so much worse, I think, yes. And I'm grateful, except it's still, I can't get where I want to get, and it's frustrating. So I can speak that I did call the RTA prior to us speaking, and I spoke with Mariella Cordero, who works at the RTA, and she seemed, I'm sorry you haven't spoken with her yet, because she seemed very, very interested in finding some way to assist you and your daughter. So I am hopeful that you've left messages for her directly.
Yes, I've left 3. And Lisa, thank you for saying that, because I want to just kind of add another element, and that's the church thing. My dad was a pastor, so I say this with all love to the church. Someone at the church told the parishioners that they could not give my daughter a ride back to school 3 miles away because they didn't have liability insurance for it. And, you know, we've always been a society where, I mean, the Cape Symphony kids and families, my daughter's first year when she was not eligible to do public transit, 2 years ago, she only got to go to Symphony because parents volunteered to pick her up and take her every Saturday. And that's who we are as a country, as a town. I can tell your town is like my heartland country. And it's just actually, I think, quite illegal, to be honest.
Yeah, that's really upsetting. It's really, I'm blind and rides are really hard for me. And yeah, that's upsetting.
Carrie, has the administration at Riverview helped you out with this transportation thing in any way? Reached out to the CCRT on your behalf or backed you up or?
Okay, so that's I'll answer that, but first, Lisa, I have left 3 messages for her, and I will call her again. I left a message for Dennis today, so I hope
Okay.
Dennis is supposed to be hopefully calling me tomorrow. Yes, Riverview's been very supportive. Through my efforts, they've learned some things that they didn't know, and including looking at the routes and going. I know they've reached out to. I don't want to speak out of school, but yes, they're very supportive. Yes, I think they tried to go in the same paths I did to speak with public officials, but public officials, it's expense, right? Anything you're hearing about is cost. Now, here's the lawyer in me. There's nothing they could say to me that's going to outweigh what I feel the ADA requires, what the state of Massachusetts requires, and likely what your town requires. And I feel very strongly about that. But at the same point, the officials are going to be like, oh, it's expensive. It's a hard sell, especially I think I saw one of the reps sign up for election right now. So they don't want to talk about it either. But they're very, very supportive. And of course, it's a hardship. And now, okay, I could pay privately, right? I can get an Uber. But Carly is an individual with disabilities, unlimited,
Right.
There's means, right?
Yeah.
And, a ride back from Barnstable High School, I think, is like $36.
No,
on
yeah,
Uber.
that's not, I don't think that's
Uber is
acceptable
not-
at all.
That's not.
Right. Yeah, and the school's not in a position where they can just take kids to, because there's 203 kids, and there is a private transportation that we could access, but that's $20 an hour, and the person has to wait for the Carly. So, for example, it'd be $20, and then they have to sit there waiting. So, if there's a rehearsal, that's 3 hours and 2 hours to get there, and that's cost prohibitive. And no, I mean, that's the thing. She's got to take. I do pay for Ubers for her to go to church, because otherwise she can't get there. And as you know, there's no public transit on Sundays, and that's another heartbreak for me, because it's like, man, that's like $20 each way. That's $40 just to get to church for an
Yeah.
hour. So there's things. I mean, I did talk to, I gave one of y'all some ideas. I mean, I think that there's creative things that we could, your organization could consider, that maybe there's creative kind of Uber, kind of Lyft, kind of taxi things that maybe grants could fund in part. But that would be probably a long time in the making. But I think there's, but in the interim, I think CCRTA has to extend that route to Riverview, and that would be the fastest way. But anyway,
I'm sorry. I just so a member of the clergy told people not to drive her, or parishioners said that.
Carly sings in the choir, and the choir director emailed me in May and said, I'm sorry, you know what? People just don't have liability insurance, so if she can't get a ride, we'll miss her.
Did you speak?
Yeah, that's awful.
I tried to. She's never called me back, and now Carly's returned, and apparently there was a woman willing to drive her home on the 16th, and the choir director apparently told everyone that they couldn't take Carly in front of Carly. And you know how miserable and humiliating that is. And my daughter doesn't have the language skills. And
No,
I'm a pastor's daughter, that's just, I'd pay too. I'd give, I mean, like I would pay, I'm going to contribute to gas, right? It's 3 miles away, but it's just, yes, that she told them that they cannot, it's like tortious, it's just, yeah.
That's also not her place as the choir director. I am good friends with some long-term parishioners there, and I know for a fact that they would have had no issue with that. Everyone's car, private vehicles have their own liability insurance. There's a passenger in them, and you get into an accident. There's a whole nother issue here. So,
yeah, and I'm with you. And there may be a Bible study after. So I told Carly this year, given that email, hey, don't ask anyone, but if anyone offers you, you can accept. But But after she said that, nobody's going to offer it to her. So, and that's just, and I'm not, here to throw that in the bus. Yeah, I've been very sad about that actually, but it just underscores like nobody, if you can't get transportation, what is your meaningful quality of life? That's the whole goal of all the laws that are supposed to make people with individuals with disabilities have an equal and quality of life like everyone else. And you can't even get volunteers. I mean, it's just...
No, it's hard. I have 3 kids and it's really hard for me to get transported with them ever. Like, I can totally relate.
Now, that area has always been a problem for transportation. We have a group of veterans there that the same problem. They can't get picked up. They are taken into even Hyannis to do shopping. So a couple of them had to move in order to find a place where they have transportation available to them.
Well, and I think, and I get it. I mean, I've heard the messages too. There's a shortage of drivers, and they're $30 an hour. And I know that there's other reasons why there's a shortage of drivers, and that includes drug testing and so forth. But maybe there's creative ways, and this is what is so unique about the town of Sandwich. There are people who could use the money. If you did some kind of, you could creatively think of it maybe like an Uber, Lyft, taxi kind of service where you pay $5 with the ADA Transit, that maybe you could get some company to agree to like do a flat rate, and the town or state subsidizes the other portion of it, like, or CCRTA literally, it's something that have to be negotiated, but they can't keep all the drivers on hand. But this would literally be, they contract with like a taxi company, and the people in the taxi company are vetted, and they could you pay your $5, and then the CCRTA pays 10 or 15 flat fee, and then they can serve the people who need it. And at the same point, they don't have to keep all the drivers on hand, and if there's nobody, it's literally on demand. So, I mean, I think maybe there's things, maybe there's grants that could be applied for by the town that could fund some of this, maybe, for different disability organizations. Anyway, it's not going to be solved in a day, but I thank you for your time on this. I feel like I've taken up a little bit too much.
No, I think it was really fruitful to hear the update, because I know you came and spoke before to us about it. And so I'm happy to hear the update, and I would like to stay in touch with you to find out how things are progressing with the RTA, because I feel like that is the first line of questioning, to find out what services. I feel like there's some answers. I feel like there are possibilities that should be able to work out. I'm sorry, because I know that you have, hit up against a wall a couple of times, but she sounded very helpful when I spoke with her. So it's frustrating that you've not gotten through to her or had that response yourself.
No, and I appreciated, all your efforts too. And I appreciate your support individually and as a town. I do. Riverview's a co, they're part of the town too. So, thank you.
Anybody have any other questions for Kari? All right. Did we have any other items?
That was the bottom of the agenda for this month.
Okay.
Can I go back to one thing, because I thought we had. Is it okay? Am I allowed to go backwards? So, with the updated fire code and stuff, I believe that the school is very glad to hear that the school is going to be making improvements to their building. And so they're going to be asking for money at town meeting, at the special town meeting in November. And so I reached out to Brendan Brides, our ADA coordinator and building commissioner, and asked him proactively if he had been contacted about reviewing any of the things that they were going to be asking for money for, to make sure that they were compliant, so that we were not running into a similar issue as before. Brendan has offered numerous times, I guess, to the facilities director and whoever's putting these out to review, and he is more than willing at any time to look at all of that stuff to make sure it would be in compliance ahead of time, but has not, nothing has come to him for him to review at this time.
And they're asking in November. Is that what I said?
Yeah, so the superintendent said that he's been working closely with the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee to put forth something at town meeting to ask for money for building improvements. And as far as I can understand, the person that would allow for any of those to be made, who is Brendan, has not seen any of those things. He both will check for code compliance, and he works closely with JJ Burke, the fire chief, but he has not received anything for review. You know, if taxpayer money was spent on something that violates the ADA, it could be reported to the Inspector General as a misuse of taxpayer money. And I would hope that they would avoid that by collaborating with someone before they decide to buy things.
This goes back to what we hoped would be like a new policy or just a new format going forward, was that the commission and Brendan would just be involved in looking at things, or just not asking for approval, but just be involved in the planning, so that things could, any kind of needing to do redos, or that would all be avoided, because it would be known beforehand, so that to avoid the whole situation again.
Correct. So that has not happened at this time. I don't know if someone wants to reach out to the school committee or the superintendent or someone.
I would be happy.
Not me, not it.
Yeah, I would be happy to do that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anything else? All right. What is the date of is it November 4th? What is the next meeting date?
I'm showing November 6th. Let me just bring up a calendar to make sure that makes sense.
Oh, it sure does. Tuesday is the election. Okay, so
next meeting, can we talk about the accessibility of the agenda?
Yes.
I continue to work on that with the town clerk, and I have some ideas that I'm hoping to flesh out before the next one, but I don't know what they will do, but absolutely, I will add it as a future agenda item.
Yes.
Thanks. And I can give you some assistance if you like. I have some information.
Yeah, my next hope is that they seem mostly stuck on this stamp, and I have the tools that I should be able to extract the stamp, put it on my accessible agenda in Word, convert it to PDF, which should tag it properly, and maybe they can upload that, is what I'm going to posit, since it addresses their concerns and should hopefully address the accessibility issues as well. Haven't tested it yet, but that's my tentative plan.
Would there be a reason to upload an agenda that is in the format that you do, and then upload the image of the stamped agenda and label it stamped agenda with the date and time without having to do all that work?
It doesn't take much work to extract the JPEG, put it in the Word file, and it's actually easier than tagging in Adobe, because tagging in Adobe is more annoying than just having Word do it for you. It sounds like a lot of things, but it's just grabbing their stamp, popping it on my agenda, resending it to them. I asked them to post both agendas this time, but I didn't get a response.
And also, I heard the town council say that the stamped agenda only needs to be in the town clerk's office. It doesn't necessarily need to be online. So you may want to get a clarification on that, because that would mean they could just post the agenda. She said that some agendas were put up with just saying the time that it was posted and didn't actually need a stamp. So we may not need the stamp, according to her. At least online. It has to be in the physical town clerk's office. But I don't think there's a requirement for any of it to actually be online. So
I also
that may
think
not be necessary to have the stamp agenda even uploaded online if it's posted in the town clerk's office.
Yeah, I will continue to work with them, and I appreciate the extra info.
Mm-hmm. And I would say, based on the open meeting law training we had, where they talked so specific around ensuring access, if a door is locked in the front and people cannot get, have access into the meeting, that's an open meeting law violation. They don't even want people going around to a back entrance. There's, and so this feels like, I know they feel that putting the link at the bottom of the agenda as a separate piece of information fills the requirement, but for people who are visually impaired, or to have to go looking for the correct link to have access, feels like having to go find the back door. I feel like it's, I would agree with Meg around equity for accessibility. It is there and it does fulfill the need by law, but it is not easily accessed by people with a disability. And really, there doesn't feel like a very good reason why it can't be, especially with other options, even given the stamp situation. So,
and I'll add, I tried to get the Zoom link on my Android phone with the voiceover assistive technology. I was unable to do it.
When I clicked on the link, it brought me to Zoom, but it made me input a password. Yeah. So
I couldn't even get the link on my Android.
It was hard to get there.
I just use the draft. I go to that email, not the posted agenda. I go to the draft one with the link that works.
And I do send it's not the draft, it's the final that I send to the town clerk, to the COD agenda, and to the distribution group, and to our distribution group as well in PDF. That one, if you get it from me or the commission's email, that has been run through accessibility checkers. And as far as I look, it should work. If
I was able to launch it from that today.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I was on my iPad, so I was able to.
If anyone ever has an issue with anything we type, just let me know. I'll do my best to fix it.
And that's great for everyone here. One of the things the town council said to me is, well, doesn't Lisa make the agenda, therefore she has access to it, which did not feel good because it's supposed to be access for everyone. I did reach out to Michelle, the lawyer, and asked her if she, in her office, had a disability lawyer that could assist with her in what was happening. I got no response. I then looked them up on the website. They do not have a disability lawyer. And then I reached out to, with just stuff in general, to Julia. So that might be something that she wants to talk about when she comes, because she is, and for the Commission on Disability, our lawyer advocate. Not specifically for the town, but in general for Massachusetts, he's a disability lawyer. But I'm just, to be honest, we have been asking for accessibility for basic things from all ends of this town for years. At this point, for years, the same thing, and we still don't have a link to this meeting that is accessible. And I don't know where or when this is going to end, because I feel like I've been really patient, and I'm losing my patience with this, for sure. Like,
feel like
Kari, I feel you.
Yeah. Part of me's like,
I feel
"Can I just
you."
give up?"
Give
I
on
feel like
up
there's
is
some
not
really
an
good.
option. Yeah, we've made tons of advisement, and there has to, I think, as we know from experience, we can give advisement so far, and then it ends with what the Commission on Disability can do. But anyone, as a member of Sandwich, can 100% do something. And
I
five
did
of
send
us,
them
or
the,
4 of us, can get together. 5 when Joanne is, on. So
and I did send them the accessibility report of their agenda versus my agenda from Adobe.
and yours was like fine, and then theirs was botched.
Yeah, it had 2 need manual checks for logical order, which I check. And if anyone finds it not in logical order, please let me know. It looks okay to me, where it just says, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to read it in this order. And then it also flags for a manual check on the color scale, because it has some grays and whites. And no one's complained, but if anyone has any issues with the color, we can change because it has a little bit of low contrast on the top with the title, but I don't seems to be okay. I would love to hear if anyone has any issues with it, because I can change that.
And if you could add to the next agenda to actually look at the website through the accessibility, because the number one thing that comes up under the checker in the website is the order. And when I went through the website with Lisa listening to our voiceover, I could not follow for the life of me where it was reading, because it was completely out of order.
Yeah.
So the website is not only, it has not all the information, but it is a mess when it comes to accessibility. And I don't even know if we can do anything if nobody's going to listen to us.
I reach out to the about
MOD.
Well, actually, I'm happy to reach out to MOD. We had not decided if it was going to be you or me, but I will reach out to them. But also the town offices. I'm happy to ask about their new IT person, and if any of their time will be devoted to accessibility and upgrading the town website. I'll report back next.
I did ask. Bud gave me a job description. Their job description, they were in training. It was a couple weeks ago, so they should be out of training now. I did ask for the IT, if with addition to this, with addition to this, with this person being added, I asked them if their goals and what their goals and priorities were. And so I'm happy to follow up on that email.
Okay. Very good. So you can do that. I'll call MOD, and we'll meet back next month. So it's after 6. I want to be respectful of everybody's time. Does anybody else have anything quick to add? All right. Then will somebody want to make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Do we need to go roll call for that as well?
Did you go over that in your last training? Anyone?
No,
I don't think so.
Not that specifically.
No. Yeah, I think they said we don't have to, but I can't find the slide that says that. So
I think so too. And so can we do it? Is anyone opposed to ending the meeting? No. All in favor?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Then we will all be back together November 6th. Thank you very much, everyone, for participating and joining.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Have a good night.